Good evening, everybody. I'm Tom Ellis. Welcome to the October 30th edition of More. Tonight, the heart of the heroin trade in Boston. We'll take another look inside the Roxbury neighborhood known as Murderers Row, where drug dealing and serious crime go hand in hand. And we'll also leave the city behind, and we'll find out what's so special about a farm in the Berkshires that draws musicians from across the ocean. This band from Great Britain is following the lead of their countrymen, the Rolling Stones. These stories and more next on More. Now, next on More, the study of a band that traveled all the way from England to hang out at a farm in Massachusetts. We'll tell you why next. Some of the biggest names in the music industry are flocking to Massachusetts these days, not to Boston, but to a farm in North Brookfield, because there is one of the finest and most unusual recording studios in the country. Bill Selby spent a day there recently, and he's here with us now to give us an inside look. Bill?
Tom, we went to Longview Farm for two reasons. First, to find out why this farm in a town most people have never even heard of was attracting nationwide recognition. And we also went to get a sneak preview of an English rock band that has been living there for the past month. We found that the rock and roll and the autumn landscape worked quite well together.
In a converted barn where cows once mooed and chickens flapped their wings, the David Reid Band is trying to break into the top of the charts. 3,000 miles from their home in London, they are polishing their sound, recording their first album, while outside the horses graze and the landscape displays its autumn colors, undisturbed by the rock and roll in the barn on the hill. Longview Farm is the creation of Gil Markle, a 41-year-old former philosophy professor who came here 10 years ago.
It was my intention to raise a family here, actually, although I brought my machines with me. We pulled out a wall or two. I brought some friends by. And the project just grew more quickly than I anticipated. And there was a point halfway down the road where I realized it wasn't going to be a home. It was going to be something I'd had in mind, in the back of my mind, for a long time. A rock and roll recording studio in the countryside.
Longview Farm made headlines last summer when the Rolling Stones went there to get ready for a nationwide tour. They were looking for a well-equipped, extremely secluded place to record and relax, and they found it.
The idea here is that there be no worldly cares, that they be removed altogether from the shoulders of the artists who come to work here, so they can concentrate only on their music.
Well, there's a way, you'll always find.
The David Reid Band could not afford to come to Longview on their own. Their 5-week stay here will cost about $75,000. They came because Gil Markle heard their music and found some local businessmen looking for a tax shelter. With all of their worldly needs taken care of, the band members settled down in the recording studio at Longview last month and began working on the dozen songs which they hope will take the American listening public by storm, or at least get them started.
Well, doctor, what's wrong with you? We have been in hell. Oh, doctor, really don't seem too well. So, doctor,
in an album, there is no room for mistakes. Each ring of the cymbal must be perfectly timed.
Oh, healer, bang. Shelf, bang.
He wants to just
shelf, bang.
That's
bang.
Reach up for your shelf.
Healer, and then just there.
Healer,
and that's it.
Can't you heal yourself?
When the band wants the feel of a concert hall, they play on the sound stage next door, which was built last year just for the Rolling Stones. You can hear traces of the Stones in David Reid's music. He blends English rock and country western with lyrics that poke fun at the doctor, or in this song, True Believer, at a lover who is preoccupied with health food, jogging, and another man.
In that exercise bike, nowhere despite, and it just ain't a ladylike thing. No longer true believer, no longer in love with you. Oh, you're hurting my pride, living a lily, I believe it's no longer true.
David Reid is no newcomer. He has spent most of his adult life in the London nightclub circuit and is now looking for a hit.
Usually what comes to me is that I get an idea for the chorus and sometimes a musical idea for the chorus, and then I go to, in this instance, Dave Morrison. We sit down and write the whole song, write the verses, the middle eights, and complete the lyrics. I want to use a cliche, communicate through my songs what I think of the world, how I see it, and hopefully strike a chord, as it were.
Drummer Liam Janaki brings to the band a wealth of musical talent as well as a beard, a strange beard. Liam says he's not looking for anything except a chance to play music.
I see people in the limelight, and you know, they can't walk down the street, they can't go out with their friends, they can't, you know, they have to, like the Stones when they're in Brookfield, they had to close one of the stores so they could go in and shop around, you know. It's not me.
Liam admits that sometimes he does miss the big city.
The pace here is ridiculous. I mean, you're driving through town at 20 miles an hour, and they're sitting there as if everything's okay, and I'm like revving up and waiting to go, because, you know, in London you're nipping in and out.
Yeah. David Reid is now putting the finishing touches on the still unnamed album, looking for the right mix of the 24 channels of drums, guitar, piano, and vocals. When winter moves in, so will another band, perhaps Cat Stevens, Jay Giles, Stevie Wonder, or perhaps another unknown. And despite his success, Gil Markle can still look at Longview Farm as just a home in the country.
This is fun. This project was designed as a pretty way to spend time. Something you do for a hobby first, and as a profession, maybe a second.
And you probably will admit that you're lucky enough to have a hobby turn out like this. Not everyone can say that.
I would use exact same words. I've been lucky enough. Yeah, I've been real lucky in that. So far, so good. It's still fun.
Gil Markle is now trying to get a major record label interested in the David Reid Band, and he's also planning to take them on the concert circuit. It's a risky business, though. Thousands of dollars have been invested in a band without any guarantee of success. But that's the way it was when Gil Markle first built his recording studio in the countryside, and if you're going to take risks, it's a pretty nice place to do it, Tom.
How long will it be before these guys know if they've got it?
I guess probably in the next 6 months or a year, and if they don't have it, or whatever you say, they will try again.
Not back to the farm.
Probably not back to the farm. Back to England.
Yeah, not a bad way to run a farm, though, is it?
Very nice.
Thank you, Bill.
Very nice.
That's it for this edition of More. Next week, we'll report on the Church of Scientology and its new campaign for converts. I'm Tom Ellis. Thanks for joining us, and good night.
With the cream in my coffee.